We have Democratic Congressman Adam Smith of Washington State to discuss. He's the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for being patient and awaiting the president's remarks. I wonder what you make of them.
Well, I mean, the dishonesty on display, and there's a whole bunch of different pieces to it. But Mike Waltz saying, oh, we did something the Biden administration never did. The Biden administration has repeatedly bombed the Houthis in Yemen. The problem is cutting off the source of that from Iran and getting them to stop. So for Mike Waltz to declare victory after one bombing campaign and to lie to the American people and to say that we haven't done this before, we've done this repeatedly over the course of the last year. What we really need are the operational details. What's different about this bombing campaign other than the ability of President Trump and Mike Waltz to dishonestly claim that it's been wildly successful a couple of days after it happened? So that is just dishonest about what's going on in Yemen. Also, the war has started up again under Trump's leadership here in Gaza, which is prompting the Houthis to once again start attacking shipping lanes. Yes, we need to stop the Houthis, but that isn't what's happening here. It is a bombing campaign. Is it going to work? We don't know yet. And then it is a huge problem to reveal highly sensitive information in advance of an attack over the Signal app. And you didn't hear anything in there about what they're going to do about it. And they invited, as you pointed out, they invited Jeffrey Goldberg in. The level of incompetence involved in this is deeply concerning because it can undermine the mission. But then to just claim, well, everything's fine because the mission was a spectacular success, even though there's no evidence of that, we need honesty. We need honesty about how this mess up happened, what they're going to do to fix it, and crucially, what is the plan in Yemen other than dropping a bunch of bombs, which again has been tried repeatedly without success?
To that point about the substance of the action itself, Congressman, President Biden took the Houthis off the terrorism designation. He essentially removed the label of terrorist group from them, which you supported. President Trump put them back on and carried out this action. Ultimately, what do you think needs to happen with this group that is backed by Iran that's been in the midst of this civil war now for more than a decade?
Well, two things need to happen. One, we do need to militarily stop them. We need to work with partners in the region to cut off the flow of arms from Iran to the Houthis. The president is correct. The Houthis do make some of their weapons, but they rely mostly on the flow of those weapons from Iran into Yemen. So that needs to be cut off. And yes, we do need to attack them. And I think targeting their leadership is perfectly appropriate. But the second thing that needs to happen is there needs to be some sort of future for the Yemeni people. Putting them on the terrorist list didn't stop our ability to attack them, as again, President Biden did repeatedly to try and stop what they're doing in the Red Sea. What it does is it cuts off aid in 1,000 different places and makes the Yemeni people even more desperate. And it puts the Houthis in a stronger, more powerful position. So that's what needs to happen. But to begin with, the White House, President Trump and Mike Waltz to lie so frequently during the course of a conversation about basic facts is stunning to me and is a huge problem in terms of getting to the right solutions. Not just on two things. One, on what do we do about Yemen, which we just outlined. Two, what do we do about the broader Middle East? But also, you guys just screwed up. You just did a classified conversation in a space that was accessible to people outside of that, and you invited someone from the media into that conversation, who rightly cut himself off from the conversation when he realized that it was real, which he explains, because he realized that he wasn't supposed to be there. When he realized what was going on, he pulled himself out. So what are they going to do to address that?
Do you think, Congressman, that Jeffrey Goldberg should release the contents of the conversation if, in fact, the White House says there was no classified material shared on the Signal thread?
In a classified setting, yes, and we've made that request. These are steps that we're taking on the Armed Services Committee. We want that information. Now, in the first place, the White House, the Department of Defense, they should give it to us, because that is supposed to be preserved and provided to committees of oversight, which the House Armed Services Committee is. If we can't get it from the White House and DOD, then yes, we would like Mr. Goldberg to turn it over to us in a classified setting. And again, kudos to him for not sharing that sensitive information public. But those of us who have oversight on the Armed Services Committee, we should see that information, and we are asking for it now.
What can Democrats accomplish in that effort without support from Republicans?
Well, I mean, we can expose what happened and we can put pressure on them to do the right thing, to actually exercise oversight. And the more we know about what was actually contained in that information and how it played out, it puts more pressure on Republicans to actually do their job of oversight. Look, we had problems during the Biden administration. Secretary Austin very famously did not reveal his health condition or that he was out of pocket. So we did a hearing on it. And we had a conversation. We brought Secretary Austin over and did it. That is oversight that needs to be done, and I supported that. That was a Democratic administration. What you are seeing again is excessive partisanship that is crossing over into autocracy that has no respect for laws, no respect for Congress, no respect for oversights. They do the little dog and pony show at the White House, but they don't tell the truth, and they don't allow the public to understand exactly what happened and be open, honest, and transparent. We need to do that whether it's a Democrat or Republican in the White House. As a Democrat, like I said, I supported it under President Biden. I think Republicans should support it now on such an obvious screw-up by Donald Trump's national security team.
And lastly, Congressman, I wanted to get your thoughts on the CIA Director John Ratcliffe testifying that signal was already loaded on his computer when he was confirmed as CIA Director. He said that it was a practice that was apparently, using that app was a practice that was apparently underway well into the Biden administration. What do you think of that?
There are contexts within which, yeah, Signal app can be fine for different conversations. There is no context under which you discuss active war plans, specific targets, and specific ordnance in advance of the attack. Just because the Signal app exists at the CIA, there's a whole, I have the Signal app. For a variety of different reasons, but one of them is not to discuss classified information. So the mere fact that the CIA has the Signal app doesn't prove that somehow this was accepted practice, and I can assure you it is not accepted practice. And a good place to start would be for Mike Waltz and Pete Hegseth and the president to at least be honest about that point instead of directly lying to the American people.
Congressman Adam Smith, we have to leave the conversation there. Appreciate you sharing your point of view.
Thanks for the chance.